Okay, hello everyone. It is Stacy here with Sacred Journeys Yoga, and I'm continuing the chain of gratitude. And my next guest is a dear friend, Shannon. We met a while ago now at yoga teacher training in Thailand, and she became my absolute savior in the experience. And she brought out the child in me, and it was like the biggest gift that I could have received in that moment, in that experience. She reminded me of my truth, of what I used to be like when I was a young kid, and we would laugh our heads off. And I just have so much gratitude and love for this woman. And so I want to celebrate and introduce Shannon. So Shannon, tell everyone who you are, what you're about. Yeah, welcome.
Thank you so much. Just you describing that, I was taken back to maybe several moments of laughing our heads off like kids do when they say like fart and they just go off on a tangent. And I think sometimes we actually did that for that exact same word. But yeah, I met Stacy at in Thailand at Tantra Yoga teacher training. And what am I about? Gosh, I am just about helping people empower themselves in whatever way possible, and then turn around and each one reach one and empower and pay that forward. So I absolutely love what you're doing with this gratitude. I embody, I will always endeavor to embody an attitude of gratitude. So you doing this and asking me to be interviewing for it, just brilliant. I'm so grateful, so grateful for you asking to do this. But any way that we can contribute it all comes back, and it's just a wonderful concept. So however I can help, can't wait.
And that's exactly, one of the biggest messages, besides, the play, was when we had those conversations of gratitude, and when you shared, some of the things that you've done. And that is what sparked this idea of like, okay, how can I pass on the gratitude, and what's my variation of this? And this is what I thought of. I thought of all of the beautiful people that have made such a big impact in my life, and celebrate them. Let's celebrate each other. So from that, I think it's really good to kind of find out and give context as to where we started. So, we're not always in these places and these kind of headspaces, and maybe not even in these places of gratitude. And so just kind of let everybody know, kind of where you began before all of this.
Right. Okay. So I was a bartender before I got into anything kind of spiritual or on the yogic path, and kind of spiteful. Not spiteful. I was just like, oh, you're not good enough for anything, and you don't have enough money to get the piece of paper for an education that will make you good enough for what society dictates that education will require you to be. So this is all you have, this is all you'll be. And I remember one day, like very specifically, I was working in a bar and there was no male staff on at the time, and some guy threw up in a urinal in the men's bathroom, and someone had to clean it up. I didn't want any of my girlfriends to have to do that worked there, so I volunteered. I was cleaning it up, and some splosh of this vomit out of a urinal landed on my arm, and I was like, no, this isn't what I'm like. And with all respect to janitors, to people that clean, I was just, in that moment, I was like, this is not what you're supposed to be doing on this planet. And I wish now I would have told that vomit, like, thank you, like gratitude to the vomit on my arm, because it was such a propeller forward. It was such a catalyst to what propelled me to start looking into more. And like, you don't need a piece of paper. There's so many things that you can utilize. And YouTube University, I just started learning as much as I possibly could. I started just applying for jobs that were way out of my breadth of understanding, and understanding how to take rejection, and it wasn't personal, and just keep on going. And eventually, those lessons pay off. So finally I got lucky. I really wanted to work for this charity company, and I happened to get another interview for this this other company I knew nothing about. And I was like, all right, I'll use that opportunity to practice for the job I really want. And I got that job, and I didn't get the job that I really wanted with the charity company. And now looking back, the job that I got, if I knew what it was and how blessed I was to be entering into this world of learning about motivation, inspiration, really facing hard rejections and overcoming it, and fear facing and objections, then I probably wouldn't have been interviewed as well. So it brings us back to gratitude. There's always a reason for everything, and there's always something good in something you don't think there is. So not getting the other job, I ended up with this company. I gained so much great friends that turned out to be family, and the opportunity to stay in this beautiful country of Australia and being sponsored through them. And now I'm a permanent resident. God. And I guess the journey then, I just found yoga. I wanted to again, you know, we're all on these personal evolutions of more, and that's what life is. And as much as we can be grateful for where we are in the present moment, the human condition is to want more. And that's what expansion is. That's what evolution is. And we're all hardwired genetically and I think spiritually for that. So yoga was the next kind of thing, and not for the asana, not for the movement, not for just, you know, being more fit. It was an exploration of emotion, of what these souls knew before us for thousands of years, and how they translated that into what's the word, samadhi, like enlightenment. And for a human to hear there's an enlightened version of this, there's a version of no more pain and suffering and XYZ and whatever it is, even if it's infinitely far away from you, the seeking of it is fundamentally part of who we are. Like, let's find it, let's seek treasure, let's go exploring, let's keep going. And that is so satisfying in itself. Probably didn't answer your question properly, but the journey is continuous, joyous expansion, the pursuit of it.
Beautiful. And it was beautiful. It was perfect. And it's funny, you know, just myself have been sitting with, you know, different words for the business, and it's been expanding awareness through exploration. And you just said those words so often that I'm just like, oh yes, you know. And I think that's one of the reasons that we connected so well in that training, was we were both, I think that's what dabbled into that childlike nature, you know, where we're like, ooh, let's be crazy kids and explore, and
I like that word,
and say things and just see what happens, you know. And we just got really goofy and silly about it. And that was, again, why I'm so grateful of, like, you reminded me of, you know, because sometimes the yoga, that spiritual, can get a little serious in the exploration, right? And it becomes this, like, I must explore. And, you know, you brought out, reminded me of that, like, playful, childlike wonderment. That was beautiful. And I love you. I love you so much for that. And and that brings me to, you've already kind of talked, you know, vomit was one of maybe the pivotal points in your life. What are, like, more, you know, pivotal points or people or times of like people or events that made an impact to help kind of direct and guide you on this journey?
Yeah, and thank you for asking. Like, I've been sitting with this for a little bit and just trying to figure out, whenever I'm really uncomfortable, and you know, whenever we've read these motivational books or inspirational things, like, this truth comes about. Whenever you're super uncomfortable, that's where the growth is, right? Like, we know that. So now I seek to be uncomfortable sometimes, because I know that's where growth is. Growth is on the other side of this. And it's not a pain for the sake of feeling pain. It's a seeking where your boundary is, so you can just exceed that. And that's what we were talking about before, is evolution, expand, and that's the nature of humans. So I seek that boundary, and, like, oh, not to go too far where you're not going to consistently challenge yourself, but just far enough where you're uncomfortable, but you're going to keep going because you know it's worth it. And one of those such times, and I am so forever grateful to plant medicine in all its various forms. I haven't explored all of its various forms, but, you know, and you could do a whole episodes on ayahuasca, and I won't go too much into that, but just recently I may have experienced microdosing with psilocybin for 6 weeks in a research experiment. And it's not enough to, you know, but it's enough to expand your consciousness, where in moments of there's an opportunity for you to be upset and where someone pushes your buttons, cuts you off in traffic, is rude, or your perception of what they're doing is rude and their perception of what you're doing is rude. And this really doesn't happen too much anymore with people I don't know. It only happens with people I love that get on your, like mom, dad, like those, your family. So with the experimenting of some of these things, it was more of a opportunity to go right to the compassion. It was like, well, I love you. Whatever you're going to do, I'm going to forgive. And why have a fight about it? Why don't I just see it as like, oh, you're experiencing this, I'm not, or I'm experiencing this and you're not. All right, go on. No battle, no judgment, just done. And aside from plant medicine, because it's not for everyone, and it shouldn't be like you can only achieve certain things with, no. Other pivotal moments have been, again, through adversity, like changing countries, changing cities, getting out of relationships, but definitely this experience I've had in the last 8 months. Like, I've just arrived back home in Australia 2 days ago. Sorry, out of quarantine, solitary confinement 2 days ago. So arriving right from the airport and going directly to a hotel for 2 weeks, and like in this room, freedom is a state of mind. I really understand now. I have nothing on people that have spent time in like proper incarceration. We were so well treated. It was such a blessing to be in there. It was amazing. I was playing like a child again. I made forts. It was wonderful. But really, when you have that time and no excuses for, I don't have time to write this, I don't have time to do this exercise, I don't have time to make the business plan that I always said I'll make when I have time to. When you have the time and you realize, oh, I don't have the excuse though, you find out what you're made of. And again, you have more time to either be like, well, I can do what I choose that will make me more aligned with my goals, or I can choose to not and keep making it a blame or a justification or an excuse. So I choose my future, I choose me. And it was a great opportunity. So every time that there's some kind of like, oh no, this thing is happening, now I'm kind of excited about those times. I'm like, okay, great, where are we at? Let's grow, let's go, let's get this done. And I call it pay as you grow. Like, we have the phone plans, pay as you go kind of name thing, but I call it, well, I'm paying with my time or my energy or my emotion. And I love, you know, anyone that knows me really well, I'm like, Dr. Joe Dispenza, just get it into whatever way, Dr. Joe Dispenza. But, you know, he talks a lot about, you know, the feelings are, you know, the expression of your heart, and your thoughts are the expression of your mind, and how you think and how you feel is this thing over and over. And if I can change whatever was negative to just be the positive experience, I change my future. And in changing your future, you change your past. You're no longer a victim, you're whatever you want it to be. And that's really empowering. And you can be sitting in a little tiny box of a room and feel like more empowered than you ever were when you had all of these available to you. So it's really just, it's here and it's here, you know, for me now anyway.
Yeah.
I talk a lot, sorry.
It's amazing. And yeah, I mean, I just, you know, I love when you talk. I love just, I'll soak that up all day long. Your energy is just so incredible, so uplifting, and you know, I can feel the truth in it. Like, and that's you know, another part of why I fell in love with you and hanging out. Like I could feel the real truth in you, and that you're not just saying this stuff. Like you embody it, you really live it, and it shows. So I guess that's a good place to lead into, you know, what do you have on offer? Like how can, if they're like me and they want more Shantastic, if you, I don't know if you could say those things, but it's her nickname, Shantastic. You want more? Want more of you? What do you have on offer? What would you like to share with everybody? How can they connect with you?
You know what? I want to like really just, okay, come from in here. What do I have on offer? I've spent so many nights, and you know, I had a long time where I drank too much. I used to smoke cigarettes. I used to smoke lots of other things. No, not lots, just like things I shouldn't be doing. I used to hate myself. Um, I used to blame other people for why I wasn't successful. I used to blame a system. I used to, like, right now what's happening on the planet, it can be heartbreaking. What I have on offer is an alternative now, and it's from growing through that stuff. But just like, if I can stay for a second, I'd love to just talk about the things I've been learning in the last little while I was kind of in this quarantine. And like, I know nothing about quantum mechanics or quantum physics, but I've been really getting into it. This is going to sound like the strangest thing, but I had this really weird dream that Albert Einstein was like, you keep learning about quantum physics so that you can figure out a way to tell the world that it's all just love. And I was like, right, oh, Albert, like, I'll get on that. And I started researching it. And I know that sounds so crazy, but it's the same things that are in Dr. Joe's book. And when you get right into the quantum physics of things, you know, we thought that we just had the atom, and we thought we knew, like, that's the smallest, most infinite, the smallest we can go, and all of infinity is the atom. And then, you know, we discovered absolutely not. The atom, there's then protons, neutrons, electrons inside of those. There's quarks and bosons and neutrinos, and it just keeps going. And inside of that then is this infinite potentiality that electrons have to appear wherever they're observed. And this is what Dr. Joe talks a lot about in the observer effect. And it just means whatever you consistently observe, that electron will, and please, I'm not going to make sense of this properly, like look at the double slit experiment and the Schrodinger experiment, and it's called the Copenhagen interpretation. But when we consistently observe something as where we would like that electron to be, the wave function collapses, and it has to bring it then from the field, from the quantum field, into this three-dimensional existence, into physical matter. So how can we interpret that into what we're talking about with gratitude? So gratitude is a signature of having something already. So if I just gave myself goosebumps. So if I'm so grateful for my friend Stacy, or like, I haven't met you yet, but I'm like, I'm gonna meet this wonderful human in this teacher training in Thailand, and we're just gonna be like two 5-year-old kids talking about crazy stuff, and we can take over the world, one loving gift to humankind at a time. And if I just keep thinking about that and focusing on that, the observer effect and quantum physics dictates that the wave function will collapse and bring that to me. There you are, there you appeared. And this is real, this is science. And the more that I've understood that, like, you become very empowered and selected with your thoughts then, like really aware of how you want to create your reality, because we call it manifestation when it's something that we want, but the law doesn't just, the universal laws don't just act when we want them to. They're there all the time. So you manifest, you know, that speeding ticket, you manifest the things you don't want to. It's universal law. So getting my head around this a little bit more, wow, like it's blowing my mind a little bit more. And like, you've always had the power, and we've always had this. We're just so infantile in our understanding of the universe, and these astrophysicists and theoretical physicists, and they're the first ones to admit, like, we don't know shit. And can I say shit? Because I said it twice now. We don't know what we don't even know, but what we do know is that this works. So if you want something, like use the signature of it. So if I'm so grateful for having an abundance in my life, and I am, it keeps showing up because it has to. And the more, like, we know that we have an electromagnetic energy, and that's one of the forces that exist that we know. Weak force, strong force, electromagnetic energy, and gravity. And electromagnetic energy, our heart is 5,000 times more powerful than our brain with electromagnetic energy, and we can't even measure it properly, only because our man-made instruments don't have the power to do so. So if I can send this heart energy out with gratitude, that's going to collapse this wave function faster and bring me what I want. And when you're not doing it with the intention of like, I want, because that's not the genuine, most powerful way to achieve. When you're just, I am this because I am feeling it, I'm grateful for it, and generosity because you kind of get a sense of understanding. If we're all in this wave function, we're all in this together. There's only one of us. So me helping you is me helping me too, because it's just us. There's just me and you. You am I, and I am you. Does that make sense? So it just makes me want to be so generous. And my company is called 3 Good Deeds a Day, and it's just starting out. To answer your question that you originally asked, I'm so sorry. I tend to go off on many tangents, but it's based on, when you just do something good for someone, you feel good, right? And if someone does something good for you, you feel good. You're like, thank you, that's wonderful. You're less likely to be an ass to the next person. And also what science proves too is someone just watching that interaction gets the same hit of like like dopamine and serotonin and possibly endorphins and maybe oxytocin if it was a physical interaction. They get the same hit. And if that just continues to exponentially expand, well, we can change the planet. And there's 7.5 billion people on this planet. And if everybody is doing these good things for everyone else, we're going to stop all these other things that are happening right now. And if you don't like something, take away its only power, and that is your attention. So we can take our attention off of the things we don't want to have manifest and put our attention on the things that we do. And that's gratitude.
Yeah.
Sorry, talk a lot.
Woo! Yes. It is.
Sorry.
I love it. And, and that again is reminding me, why I love you so much. And I'm so grateful that you have, popped into my life, and that I asked you to pop into my life. And also, important to reach out, like I know we've tried to have little chats here and there with internet stuff and all that, and I'm glad that we are connecting. I'm glad that we kept trying to connect, because it is that good reminder. Yes, I want more of this, right? So like surround yourself with the people that light you up, surround yourself with the choices that light you up, surround yourself just like you're saying. And it's like, oh man, when you experience it, you get it. You're like, yes, of course, this is what I'm of course. Let's go all the way with it. So yeah, I love that. And that's you really honed that in, when we were together in Thailand, and I carried that with me, and you just amplified anything I had in myself with it. You amplified it. And you continue to amplify it for yourself and for others. So thank you so much for sharing that. And the power of attention, the power of gratitude, all of these things. And I think it's always funny. One thing that stood out was like, if we ask ourselves, or we ask somebody, oh, okay, so what's the problem? We're really quick to like know and dial in that. But then when we're like, oh, so what do you want? It's like people have to step back and go, oh, wait a second. Actually, I haven't thought too much about, and like, my question, it's like, whoa, how come that isn't a well thought out part of the equation? Which I feel is like,
your mind. We haven't been, and I won't go off on another, I might go off on another tangent. Please stop me, like make a hand wave or something. We're so programmed from a young age to look at what we don't want, and like, don't go with a stranger, and don't eat candy, and don't speak loudly, and don't respect this person, and don't do this, and don't do this, and don't do this. And you know, it's obviously getting better as generations grow, I hope. But and again, with the physics of it, like, whatever you look at more will multiply. Whatever we observe will grow, will be the manufactured version of what we look at. So if we want something else, look at something else. So I posted about this. I do a daily dose every day, and I really try to never get involved in any of the kind of politics or any of the kind of things that are, I just want to be a clutter-free, like, look at what you want kind of platform for anyone that's following me. And I'm so grateful for all the people that do, because like, they help the energy amplify. So, you know, one thing I did post was like, fighting for peace is like screwing for virginity. Like, so many people right now, we must fight for peace, we must fight for peace. Like, no, we must love for peace. We must remember that we're only fighting ourselves. And one thing I really love to help myself in the analogy of we're all one is like, we're made of between like 50 and 60 trillion cells, right? The same as the planet has 7.5 billion humans on it, but we're all made of earth. We're all earthlings. And, you know, what is it going to take for us to realize we're all one? Like, maybe some intergalactic beings coming in to take over for us to be like, oh, we're earthlings. It doesn't matter what color we are. But the same way that you have, you know, your muscular system talking to your endocrine system talking to your respiratory system. We're just that country with this country and this, we're all on the same planet. We're all the same function of the same body, you know, like, we're all one. And it's just a great way to focus on remembering anything I do, if it's not in the betterment of the all, maybe I should rethink why I'm doing it. And babies are only born with two fears, and that's the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises, and everything else is learned. So if someone's, you know, being, you know, not kind in any sense of the way, it's really trying to choose it as, that's not who they are. It's just something they were taught, and I can see past it and see that their love underneath it, because that's all we really are. That's our real essence of all that we really are. And that's a belief. And thank you, plant medicine, I've seen it. So I don't know if that helps at all, but
yeah, I love it. I love it. And a beautiful, beautiful message for sure. And easier said than done at times. Baby steps,
yeah.
right? And this is the baby steps. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, I can get pretty big picture thinking, and it does help to just come back to my own life and be like, okay, what can I do in this moment today, in my own life experience to make a difference? And that's like, you know, simply picking up a phone call, or picking up a phone and making that call and being like, hey, thank you for being in my life, thank you for showing up, thank you for that message you shared, or press that like, or make that comment, you know, or buy that person coffee in the line ahead of you, whatever. Like, what can we just break it down, make the little steps? Or can I say something nice to myself today? You know, can I just share one nice thing with me today? It can start there, you know? So, because it can get overwhelming.
It should start there. Yeah. The 3 good days part of that is, you know, first do you, because you can't give from an empty cup, you know. And it's really more visible with my mom friends. For some reason, like, women we're givers, and you know, you can't give everything to everyone if you have nothing to give. So give to you first, and then do your inner circle, your colleagues, your rest of your family outside, and then, you know, strangers you haven't met yet, the world at large. But definitely kindness to yourself first is where real change happens, and then it expands outward. It doesn't start from like, let me change the planet and then I'll do me. It starts here and then it heads outward, you know? Ripples in the pond doesn't start out in.
Totally. So with that, thank you so much for taking the time and sharing your energy and so what is kind of one takeaway or message that, you know, if you have to sum up everything or, you know, add a little extra or quote or whatever it is, what would you like to leave everyone listening here as a little takeaway?
Oh, I have so many quotes I would just go for. The thing that always keeps finding me is the golden rule that we learn in like grade 1. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. And if you can really embody that in every moment, really, the world would be a different place. If we really did embody that, we'd love ourselves, we'd take care of each other, we wouldn't need a government, because if you're the only person that exists, what do you need governing for? We wouldn't have any kinds of, we would have organization, but it would be based on love and trust and harmony. And I know I'm talking of this utopia of something we can't even fathom at present, but why not? If it's something that is, as I talked about earlier, an observable potential in the quantum field of reality, why not observe just love? So do unto others as you'd have them do unto you.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how can people find you if they want to start connecting with you? And
oh, lovely. Well, I am on Facebook and really loving all the support for the daily doses. So Facebook, Shannon Pereira. There's also, I'm starting my coaching business officially on July 1st. It's Canada Day. Stacey is also Canadian. We've lived abroad for a long time, so but happy Canada Day. And I mean, I'm not really going to advertise. I know just attracting the people that are ready for some kind of alternative therapy kind of work. But message me or website to be announced soon.
cool.
Instagram too. What am I? Enlighten Up Coach. We came up with that kind of together from a book. It was Enlighten the Fuck Up we were thinking of. Sorry. Yeah. But
you have to do an Enlighten
Up Coach.
That's still
Enlighten the Fuck Up retreat. Sarcasana, it's sarcasm and asana, the posture part of yoga to be combined. We talk about all kinds of sarcastic approaches to take a light side of yoga. I thought of more, girlfriend. We'll have a talk after.
So if anybody's listening and wants sarcasana and lighten the fuck up, let us know and we'll put it together.
Some of the things you might hear are, let your anus blossom.
Maybe you should have led with that one.
Not in depth enough. Yeah. Let your anus blossom. No.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you so much, Shannon. Love you. I love you so much. And
love you.
I hope everyone connect. And this woman, she's just got so much. So yeah, look her up, reach out to her. And I just want to thank you for your time on this and thank you for your life. Thank you for sharing your life with everyone.
Thank you. I'll interview you when it's my turn.
Sounds good.
Love you.